Hi. Hey, Mark. First comment to the broadcast on YouTube. Hey, everybody. Welcome to A Moment in Time with me, Taylor. Good to see you. We're going to be doing a book review today called Lost Connections by Johann. And we are live, so this is going to be probably more of a discussion than just a basic book review like you'll find on my YouTube channel, where I have like 1 to 2 minute long book reviews and summaries you can check out. It's Fem Yoga on YouTube as well. We're live there. We're live on Periscope, where Mark just sent the first super hearts of this broadcast. And thank you, Mark, for being a monthly supporter of this channel. If you guys want to learn more about this channel and how you can get involved, you can check out the website femyoga.com. Hey, Phenomenal. Hey, Mark, thanks. Yeah, I did my hair. I put some makeup on. My shorts are kind of riding up. There we go. Nick, hello. Hey, everybody. Prashant, hey, thank you. Another monthly sponsor in the house. Thank you for your monthly sponsorship, which actually came through today on the 20th of the month. So you can sign up for any day of the month, and it'll come out on that day each month. 14,000 more hours. Yeah, we need a lot more hours watched on YouTube in order to monetize over there. So if you want to watch on YouTube, that helps us out in a couple of ways. Hey, Sonoma. Hi, Hakan. John, what up? Is Eunice here? Eunice, are you on YouTube? Or are you on Periscope? Eunice, are you here? Mark is looking for you. I'm going to drink a little bit of water, and then we're going to dive in. I will warn you, this book is a bit controversial. It has some pretty contrarian type beliefs about depression and anxiety, and we're just gonna have a lot of discussion about it, okay? So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I didn't write this book, I don't know a lot about it. I just know I used to be depressed myself, and I find a lot of this information very interesting. Hey, Mahana, how are you? This book was gifted to me by one of my sponsors here, James, who's actually a doctor out in California. So even though I'm not a doctor and this author is not a doctor, it was recommended and gifted to me from a physician and who's been a practicing physician for, I would guess, at least 20 years. Yeah, that's true, Kyle. That's true. Hey, and thanks for being a super fan. How are you, Kyle? How's your day? Oh, so contrary. Yes. Mary, quite contrary. So I'm going to go through it like I normally do, chapter by chapter, and we'll just kind of discuss all the different things that were in here. There was a lot of stories, a lot of case studies, interesting things, some things that I agree with, some things I don't, but we'll just see what we all think together with a little discussion. Excuse me. So a little background on the author. Johann has 2 big books. This is one of them, and this was published in 2018. When this video is being filmed and streamed live. Not a psychic, a physician. Hi, Nicholas. Yeah, I'm good too, Kyle. I got an interesting email today from Periscope that has me a little worried, but we're gonna wait till we hear back from them to figure out how we're gonna proceed forward with this channel and with our work. But I know that if we keep putting positive out there into the world, that good things will come to us in this community. So anyway, thanks for asking. But his first book was called Chasing the Scream, and it's a book all about addiction and I think some other things. He touches on depression a little bit in the book, I believe, and it's, again, very contrarian beliefs about addiction. Now, I haven't read that one. I really want to, but that's kind of his style. He likes to write things that are, kind of controversial, get people kind of riled up and really thinking. And I like that. I like to be challenged to think. So hopefully you guys will take that challenge with me. Sonoma, thank you for the super hearts. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad you're doing good too, Kyle. Hey, Cher. Hello. Thanks for being over on YouTube. Appreciate you guys for watching over on YouTube because that helps me get closer to my goal. All right, let's dive in. Introduction. Chapter 1, The Wand. So this chapter started out, it was talking about this device. Let's see if I can find the term for it, but it's a wand, basically a lightning rod. Okay. Elisha Perkins from Connecticut had this. He had announced he had announced that they had discovered the solution to all kinds of pain, and there was only one way to get it. You had to pay for the use of a thick metal rod they had patented, which the company named a tractor. It had special qualities that the company couldn't tell you about because then their competition would try to steal all of their ideas. But if you needed help, one of the people trained to use the tractor would come to you at home and explain that just like a lightning rod draws lightning, the tractor will draw the sickness out of your body and expel it into the air. They would then run the tractor over your body without it ever touching you. Hey, Jimmy Knapp, another one of our monthly supporters in the house. Thank you, Jimmy, for being here and for supporting the channel at the website, femyoga.com. So this chapter basically dealt with the effects of the placebo effect. Now, they tested that. Basically, other people made fake tractors, fake wands that they would wave over people, and they would tell them that this was going to heal them, that this is going to draw out all the bad energy, all the bad stuff from your body, and you're going to be healed. They tried bone, they tried metal, they tried wood, just to make sure that there wasn't actually some type of chemical component to the effects. And it turned out that simply just because, hi Todd, just because people believed that it was going to help them, it did. And people with crippling pain, like one guy had such bad rheumatoid arthritis that his hand was like stuck permanently to his knee for a very long time. I'm not going to read the whole book to you, but when they waved the wand over him and told him that it was taking out all the bad pain and the illness in his body, he was able to take his hand off of his knee, and over time he was able to actually lift his arm up, simply by receiving more treatments from the wand, which were really nothing. It's just a placebo effect, right? Hey Josh, yeah, it works wonders on hypochondriacs. Can you get a Taylor placebo until the real thing? Mesmer tried magnetism. Yeah, well, the point of this was the placebo effect, that there actually wasn't anything going on here. Simply just that, oh, this is weird. Restream has this button now that says new messages, and now I can't actually really read what Mark wrote about Mesmer, but with the magnets. So placebo effect. So then that segued into him talking about antidepressants. Again, this is very contrarian. This is from the book. I'm just telling you what this book says. Hey, Avery. I would love to hear what you guys think about it. Placebo effect is very real. So I've been trying to use it on myself lately and just kind of think myself better by knowing that I can. Students from Hogwarts, yeah, they were real magic wands. So with antidepressants, basically what he found in looking through different studies was that a lot of the studies that are done on pharmaceuticals are done by the companies themselves. The companies are the ones, because who's going to pay for it, right? Hey, Evgeny, snakes. So if, I don't know what that means. If a company wants to get a drug approved, they have to have trials. And I think they only have, according to this book, they only have to have 2 trials that were completed anywhere in the world at any time with any number of people, basically. And as long as those 2 trials could prove that the pharmaceutical is effective at what it's supposed to be used to treat, then it can be approved and taken to market. So he gave some different examples. There was one where, it was an antidepressant, and they had studied it on about 300 different clients, and it only was effective on like 27 people, and they used the report of just those 27 people. So they chose to craft the study to only include the positive results. And what they said was that the drug companies hire these independent testing companies to do the testing for them, and then they take the results to the company, and then the company actually puts out the report that they submit to the government to get approval. Now also, according to him, he said 100% of the lawmakers in Britain are, like 100% of their funding comes from the drug companies, and in America it's like 40%. So basically the drug companies own the legislation. They through lobbying, they monopolize basically the industry, and they're able to get things through and approved that maybe through a real true system of checks and balances would not happen otherwise. Again, you could call this conspiracy theory. You can have your own opinions or beliefs about this. I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments, so feel free to comment anything you think about this. As he studied different antidepressants, he found that they were oftentimes, if at all, only marginally more effective than placebo effect. So many people heal completely on their own with no form of treatment, no placebo, no nothing. Some people heal just as well with the placebo as with the antidepressant, and they said maybe like a couple people here and there where the antidepressant was more effective, but not in a way that they make it seem, right? That it's like, it will work, you know? It's because you believe that it will work and the doctor tells you that it will work, that could potentially, it could be working just because of that. And potentially you could also just naturally be getting better on your own. So, and we'll talk about the causes of depression that he gets into here, but he just started out with the power of the placebo effect and the issues with big pharma, drug companies owning legislation and being able to kind of get the laws in their favor and almost craft the whole narrative through advertisements. Through, you know, you see these advertisements, oh, you feel depressed? Well, you're gonna feel great, you're gonna look great, you're gonna have all this energy because look at this commercial where this person supposedly took this drug and now look how happy they are, when really they're just like some actor or model that's paid to do whatever, you know, and it's just crafted to get you to purchase the product. Now, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. Finley, thank you for the super hearts. Good little interruption there. There was something else about the placebo effect, the effect of antidepressants. Oh, that the side effects are very real, and that the side effects affect many people, not a small fraction of the people like the positive impacts maybe have, but that the side effects like weight gain, decreased interest in sex, being very sensitive, like maybe emotionally or physically, your body is more or less sensitive. Like you're not as sensitive to touch. It's kind of like you're numbed a bit. A lot of different things. If you can read the side effects of different antidepressants and anxiety medications all you want. Actually, Wave Generator, we will be getting into psychedelics towards the end of the book here, during this broadcast though. Yes, yeah, they do have to name the side effects in the commercials, and it's always horrible, right? It's always horrible. The actors are reading testimony from patients. We're all hypnotized in some area, similar vein as placebos. Yeah, so the effects of media, the effects of advertising, the effects of your culture. I mean, there's so many environmental factors. And that's kind of what the argument of this book, if I was to sum it up, really is that it's not just, hey, Vizzy, that it's not just something is wrong with your brain or there's something, genetically wrong or something chemical imbalance, but that your environment plays a huge role in depression and anxiety. That's the argument that he was trying to make with the book. So of course everything's kind of slanted to prove that point. Hey Billy, how's it going? Hey everybody. All right. And if you're still commenting on YouTube or Twitch, will you tell me on Periscope if you can, because I'm not seeing comments over there anymore. Yeah. So I think that we got the point across there. On to chapter 2. Imbalance. Oh, he talks about serotonin and how the beliefs that serotonin, having low levels or high levels of serotonin have anything to do with depression. Hi, Layla. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yeah, it could be vitamin D deficiency. There's so many. It could be lack of sleep. And that, so serotonin basically is like it's like one of those like urban legends. It was something that someone one time said in like the 60s or something, hey, maybe it has to do with this serotonin thing that we just discovered. And people were like, yeah, maybe it does. And then they did all these tests and basically like the jury's still out, that there's really no solid evidence that serotonin has anything to do with feeling good or feeling bad. Beliefs aren't necessary when you've accepted evolution. Thanks, Layla. Thanks for taking screenshots. And thank you, TF, for the hearts, and Avery, Finley, Josh, Nick, Saul. Appreciate you guys. That's how I know that you like what we're saying here. So that sums it up. He basically is just trying to say that the chemical imbalance argument is not well scientifically backed up. You take Zoloft? Okay. I definitely don't recommend you guys get off any of your medications. Again, the side effects are very real, but just telling you what's in this book. Todd says serotonin has everything to do with depression. And where did you find that out? I can read a little bit more if you want about serotonin. Let's see. I can't read because of copyright laws. I can't read too much. Todd says, as if it's well backed up. Hi, DJ. Todd, if you find studies that prove it, can you send them to me? Because according to this book, there are pretty much none. Serotonin was abandoned by scientists as an explanation for depression and anxiety. There was a shift in scientific research. If it's not low serotonin that's causing depression and anxiety, then it must be the lack of some other chemical. Antidepressant drugs that increase serotonin in the brain have the same modest effect in clinical trials as drugs that reduce serotonin in the brain. And they have the same effect as drugs that increase another chemical, norepinephrine. And they have the same effect as drugs that increase another chemical, dopamine. In other words, no matter what chemical you tinker with, you get the same outcome. What do the people taking these different drugs have in common? The belief that the drugs work. It works largely for the same reason that the wand works, because you believe you are being looked after and offered a solution. Psilocybin, they talk about psilocybin in this book, and I have a lot to say about that. The book is Lost Connections by Johann Hari. And hi, Tyler! And you can reach out to me. All my contact info is on the website. So Twitter, Instagram, email, YouTube, Twitch, whatever works. Busy says that Zoloft works great on his depression. Okay. So personal experience is going to be a little bit hard to use as like scientific evidence. I think that's really what this argument is, that you believe that it's working, that it will work for you, so it does. I actually was just recently talking to a friend who told me that she was dealing with some depression, and she said, they put me on a new medication and it is helping so much. I feel so much better. And I thought that was interesting because I just read this book. I didn't ask any leading questions or anything. She just said this all back to back. She said, they put me on this new medication. I'm feeling a lot better. And she said, I knew it would. I knew I just needed a different medication or something. Like, it was in her mind that what she needed to feel better was medication. So they gave her medication and she feels better, and she knew that she would. It's just interesting that she said that like days after I finished reading this book. I was like, interesting. You believe it actually works, of course, right? So the thing isn't whether or not you believe it works. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We want to actually study it, right? The actual the trial. So there's 3 groups of people in a clinical trial. There's the people who are given a placebo, the people who are given the drug, and the people who are given nothing, the control group. And a lot of the people in the control group get better without anything, without the placebo or any treatment. So, and you say you think I'm wrong. This isn't my opinion. This is the book. This is about this book. And there's plenty of stuff that I disagree with about this guy on too. So I think we'll all come to a mutual conclusion at the end. Motivation and feelings. Yeah, Todd, did you send me? I'll pull it up on the screen. Did you send me the studies? If you send them to me right now, I'll pull them up on the screen. We can look at it together. I love looking at that kind of stuff. Hey, Dan. Hey, Dan. Hey, what's up? Okay. Chapter 3, the grief exception. This was really interesting to me. I actually, Wave Generator, I think I actually put that book on my wish list, or my to be read list on my Goodreads. So you can follow me on Goodreads too if you go to the website. And I also have my book reviews there. If you want to sign up for my book reviews, they're free. And I send 3 emails a year, once every 4 months. And it's just telling you all the books that I've read in those 4 months, the summaries, and the reviews of them. Okay, Todd, perfect. Thanks, Dodan. Hi, Deb, hey! Amy or Ami, hello. Hey, everybody. Okay, so the grief exception. So what they found in some of these studies, according to this book, is that, that's why I keep saying it's very controversial and everyone's going to get really worked up and riled up. I'm just saying what the book is about, and if you can present actual evidence to the contrary besides personal experience, I would love, love, love to read it, because there's a lot, like I said, that I disagree with him on too, and if we can discredit everything he says, that would maybe make me feel better. Hey Shara. Will I ever do book review with a wolf pup? Probably, I could. I'm not going to do this one though because I have to clean my gun tonight, so I'm not going to drink beer before doing that. But maybe we'll drink beer afterwards. If we get this done and I get my gun cleaned and it's a reasonable time at night, we will continue this. We only have an hour and 28 minutes until Chris Angeles comes live tonight, so we have to make sure that we finish talking in that period of time. But I talk pretty fast. You guys are pretty good. I think we're going to do just fine. I don't see any comments over there. Okay. Discredit everything? I'm just saying. I'm speaking in hyperbole. Espinoza, hi. Personal experience is proof. Well, is personal experience proof of God? Hey, Zach. There's blood all over my gun. No, there's not. There's no blood on my gun, I promise. Hello, Reforest. How are you? Okay. The grief exception. So what they were finding is that a lot of people who went into depression, anxiety, and you know what? Let's talk about this too. The author himself has a subjective experience with depression and antidepressants. So he was actually prescribed Prozac, I think it was, for like 15 plus years. And when he was prescribed, and he gained a lot of weight while on the medication. And when he was originally prescribed that medication, they did not ask him, they didn't do any type of like psychotherapy or psychoanalysis really at all. He went in, he said he felt depressed, he thinks he needs an antidepressant. They said, yeah, you probably do. They gave him an antidepressant. There was no like, something they repeated a couple times in this book, which I actually quite like, is instead of saying, okay, what's wrong with you? To switch the question to what happened to you. Because in a lot of these cases where people were put on antidepressants, they had recently lost a spouse, like one of their spouse, their life partner had died, or they were raped, or they had some type of sexual abuse or trauma, and that a lot of the times these depression and anxiety symptoms were caused by grief, which is actually what I think most people would think, and I would agree with this part, a healthy, normal, emotionally balanced, no chemical imbalance, not something wrong with you because you're sad because your wife died. That's good. If you weren't sad, I would be concerned. So he talks about the importance of that we don't seem to think that grief is okay. We can't accept that people can be sad. We're not allowed to be sad ever. We're not allowed to feel really, really down and like we don't understand the meaning of life when someone close to us dies or we're raped or whatever. We just need to take a pill and just never grieve and not allow ourselves to have that full process. So I'm going to read the comments a little bit. Lower insulin, sauna, and sleep like a king. Hey, Matt. There's another monthly sponsor in the house. You bought a Homestar light projector. Best toy ever. A Homestar light projector. Wait, does it make it look like there's stars on the ceiling? Gotta wipe down those fingerprints. Check out China study from Dr. Campbell. Saul, can you DM that to me so don't forget? Most of the time medication was a last resort. Rub some dirt on it, walk it off. What are we talking about right now? Thanks for inviting that. Thanks for inviting your followers, guys. I think this is pretty good conversation to be having. Pretty interesting stuff. Okay, so part 2 of this book. So we got through part 1. Starts with chapter 5. Picking up the flag. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Okay, chapter 6. Cause 1. Disconnection from meaningful work. So he gets into the 7 causes that through his studies and preparing to write this book, what he found to be 7 possible, I'm going to say possible, he would probably say the 7 causes of depression and anxiety. Matt, you did make the list. You're on this list. You probably just scrolled by up there, so you'll be on here once this scrolls up a little bit more. Thank you so much for your contribution. I appreciate that. All right. Disconnection from meaningful work. So they talk in this section about the fact that 87% of Americans report that they do not look forward to going to their job each day. They are not excited about their work. They do not find their work to be meaningful and having a big impact and influence on the world. And 13% of people do. And that those 13% of people tend to be pretty much not depressed. That if they have meaningful work and they enjoy their work, they're excited about it, and they truly believe it's making the world a better place. I'm kind of mixing in two of the causes here, so let's leave the world as a better place thing and just say that the work is meaningful and that the person is excited to do the work. That seems to be a big differentiator in whether or not people are depressed. So again, he's searching for environmental clues, not genetic, we do get into genetics, but not focusing so much on chemical imbalance and things like nutrition. But he does talk a little bit about movement and lifestyle. So again, you can tell as I'm talking about this, I'm like 50-50 about like some of this sounds reasonable and right, and some of it is like sometimes I'm trying to force my mind open. I think I need some psilocybin so that I can comprehend what I think about this book. Book Smart Rich Gang, I love your username. I love that. I look good in green? Thanks, Todd. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. All right. Disconnection from meaningful work. So I'm actually curious, in the broadcast here, if you want, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch or Periscope, if you put a 1 in the chat, that's going to say to me that you're excited about your job, you like going to your job, you like your work, you find it meaningful. And then 2 would be no. You don't, not necessarily that you hate your job, but that you don't really, you're not excited about it. It's not like you do your job because you have to, not because you really want to, not because you're like so excited about it. So 1 means that you really like your job, you do it because you want to. Even if you were independently wealthy, you would still do it. And 2 is like, I'm not really very excited about it. Okay, so Layla likes her job. What do you do, Layla? If you put a 1, I'm curious what you do. Josh, I feel like I should know what you're doing, but I don't know. I know you're interested in getting into real estate. So Joseph says no, not so much. Todd's on the fence. Brian, hey, thanks for inviting your followers. Finley, what do you do, Finley? Avery, Book Smart Rich Gang, what do you guys do? What do you guys do that you find so meaningful? This is awesome. This is interesting because when you have internet communities, this is from a different book, which has, actually they talk about the other book in this book. That book is called Bowling Alone by Robert Putnam. And that book was a bit heavy for me. I actually didn't even bring it with me when I moved. I left it with my ex because I wasn't really so into it. But in that book, they talked about internet communities being very similarly minded. Like a lot of, oh, you're a social worker. Did I know that, Finley? I don't think I knew that. Yeah, that's definitely meaningful work. People that get into that work usually have also intrinsic values instead of extrinsic as much, which we will talk about in a little while. Mark's a painter, medical coder. I used to do that. A small moving company, contracting mostly. This is awesome that so many of you love going to your jobs. You really want to do it. That makes me excited. BCW, what does that mean? Hi, Malia. Hey, what's up? So what they say about internet communities is we tend to be very homogenous, meaning we're all the same in the way that we think, but we'll have very diverse characters. So we have people from all, like, look at all the different jobs that we have. We have contractors, physicians, assistant. This book is from one of my viewers who is a physician, social workers, stay-at-home moms, part-time workers, all people who are on disability and not working at all, like the whole gamut, different ages, different race, different genders, different countries, but we all think pretty similarly. And if you look at your local community, like your neighborhood, you're gonna have less diversity in the terms of like age, socioeconomic status, race, gender. Probably, I mean, there's only 2 genders. Gender's probably not really the right word, but like, not everyone's from all these different countries, usually, depending on where you live. But if you think of just in general, most people, it's pretty homogenous in the way that they look and the people you really hang out with. Like, let's say your friends in your real world life, most of them are probably around your age, right? And maybe like you either all have kids or most of you don't have kids. It's like you're pretty similar in your lifestyles, but your ways of thinking may be very different. I think a good example of this for me is Steph Ray Arts, who is another broadcaster that lives near me, and we love hanging out. We hang out a lot because we're near each other, but our political beliefs for sure are complete like polar opposites. But it's fine. It's just you know, it's just two different types of like communities. So I kind of got on a tangent there, but it's interesting. Hernia, sore back, no medical insurance. Wait. Beats up my body. Oh, yeah. Matt's an entrepreneur. Psychiatrists rely on medicating often. Very true. Hey, Josh. Which book was that? I'm not. Oh, I make a crazy gesture when I say internet. I do. The internet. There's the book if you want to screenshot it. Am I a Republican? I'm a volunteerist. Basically, I believe that we should have private law and private defense. Almost like anarchy, but not. I don't believe we shouldn't have rules. I believe that we shouldn't have a ruler, if we were to get into it like that. So, privately enforced rules. A tangent sounds like a tropical fruit. Sounds like I need to drink some water. Okay, so meaningful work. Good. Cause 2. Seems like a good time for a water break. Cause 2 is disconnection from other people. This one I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of arguments about, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. Would I settle for a third party? Well, that's what you would have. You would have arbitration agencies, basically, but they would still be private. Not this leader. That would be scary. It would be scary. What's scary about that? A lot of people think Donald Trump is scary. All right. Chapter 7, disconnection from other people. This is actually the chapter he talks about that book. It's called Bowling Alone by Robert Putnam. And it's about how back in the day in early America, not really early America, but like in the 50s and 60s, everyone was in a bowling league. Like everyone in America, it was something like, 4 out of 5 people were like in a bowling league or something crazy like that. It was like a thing, okay? We all bowled. We were all in bowling leagues. And now it's like some crazy number. It's like 0 people are in bowling leagues. It's like 0.5% of people. And they use that as an example of how we just don't connect in person in the real world as much as we used to because of television and the internet. Video games is another good example, which kind of ties into internet. Media, screens, these things are detaching us from real life human interaction. Like right now, we all kind of feel like we're together, but it's not having the same effect on our psyche, on our mind, as actually being together would. And I know that because I have met about 100 people through the Periscope app in person. And I loved it. I love like every single person that I've met. And it wasn't all at once. All different trips, a lot of one-on-one meetings and things with people. And I just love hanging out with people in person. I like going out to eat, sharing meals together, sharing drinks, getting to talk candidly where we're not on the internet broadcasting every single thing that, we think and say. We can actually just hang out and connect, and we can touch. We can hold hands, we can hug, we can console each other, we can, see each other, we can wipe the eyelash off of each other's cheeks and, and really connect like a real human and like laugh about things that happen in our mutual space. And now the internet gives us some connection. So people who can't leave their houses, let's say like you have kids so you can't get out much, or you have some type of illness, maybe you're an agoraphobic person, or you are depressed or anxious and you don't want to leave your house. This gives you, it's like step 1 of social engagement. It's better than nothing, do not get me wrong. I think it's better than nothing. Hey Georgie. Eyelash wiping. Yeah, it's kind of cute, right? But it's not, you can't replace real socializing with social media. I think the way they said it is don't replace your social life with social media because it's not the same. It's really, really not the same. We've talked about that a little bit when we read Mark Manson's book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F Word. He talked about how social media, basically what we do on social media is we try to present ourselves as having our stuff together. That we got it all, we have these great lives, we have these great relationships, we're always looking good, feeling good, positive vibes, all this, I've heard it referred to, my friend calls it Positivaholism. That like everyone's so obsessed with positivity that we're in denial about anything negative existing, you know? Did I get your email, Georgie? I don't know. When did you send it? Today? People hate it when I start touching them at the bowling alley. I have a book you need to read, but I'll need to find title and author. Yeah, just direct message it to me or email it to me. Mark's telling me to scroll up. We met and you didn't eat all your sliders. You think onions make your feet stink, Snow Cheetah? That's probably true. That's probably true. It's okay. You can just wash your feet. Don't stop eating onions if you like onions. Life's too short. You'll find someone who loves your stinky feet and washes them for you. Today, it's very important that you read it now. Okay, I'm gonna read it right now. Hi, Raki. Is it about someone with the initials RW? In which case, I'm tempted to believe it is not very urgent, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Where did you send it to? femyogataylor@gmail.com? I don't see it, Georgie. My best bowling score? No more than like 150 or something crazy low. Probably like, I think I remember getting like 130 one time or something like that, but I bowled on this channel one time. I'm not gonna be doing that again. Hi Ryan, hello. It was bounced back, I'm sending it again. Okay. I'm still a great social butterfly, thanks. Oniony feet, Saul, you're gross. You know we're gonna meet up in 2019. Well, that's what I would love to do. femyogataylor@gmail.com. That's what it should be, yeah. I got an email 3 hours ago from U-Haul. So I'm just gonna go back to the topic for a little bit. Hey, Tyler, you're on Twitch. Hey, Tyler, when did you send that message? See, why is it so delayed? Social media is when people feel good. Yeah, that we present okay, Georgie, that we present a, you know, an unreal image, and then we compare ourselves to the people we see on social media, and we think, well, their life is so great. They get to travel to all these cool places. They're married. They have children. They, you know, all these things, and we think everything is great. But if we were to actually see their day-to-day lives off of social media, we would realize they're real people. They make mistakes. They do things wrong sometimes. They have smelly onion feet. They, you know, like have bad gas. Like, who knows? Hey, Steph. I just talked about you a minute ago, about us being friends and living near each other, and how that's like, how that differs from internet communities. Although we did meet on the internet. So that's what I like to use the internet to catalyze my real life, in-person social life. And now I get to go on a cruise with Steph Taylor in like a few days, and I've met some of the coolest people. Vegas was really, really awesome. Stephanie, hey! Stephanie, actually one of my sponsors actually sponsored for you to be in our private Periscope group. So I've added you to our private Periscope group, just so you know. So yeah, meet people in the real world. Hey Mark, thanks for watching on Twitch. It seems to be caught up now. Seems like it's caught up. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye on my emails. I see you, Mark, I see you. You hope I come to New York City? Oh, I'll definitely come. I think New York City would be a good place to have a meetup. That's what I was gonna say. I would love to coordinate a big meetup where we could all come potentially and meet and hang out in person in a group. Hey, Steven, hey. So that's an idea. I know it'll be hard for everyone to get to one place, but I feel like New York City is pretty central because we have people over in England and Australia, we have people in Canada, people all around America, probably some people in South America and Mexico, so I feel like New York City is kind of like the center, but what do you guys think? What places would be good? We gotta get connected to people. So then the next cause number 3, chapter 8, is a disconnection from meaningful values. Malia's like, perfect, I'll be here. You coming to Texas? I don't have any plans to do Texas just yet. I just went to Vegas, like, what, 3 months ago? So I won't be in Vegas anytime soon. Todd says Texas, too. I've never been to Texas, so it's a good idea. That's where Steph is from, too. Okay. Texas isn't really very central, but, I mean, I guess kind of. Yeah, maybe if you're thinking, like, Australia and the UK. Okay. Okay. He said boo. All right, so meaningful values. I touched on this a little bit earlier. Intrinsic values versus extrinsic values. So what they found is that people are much happier who more highly value intrinsic values. So don't get me wrong, we all have both. Intrinsic values are like, we do things because we love doing them. They make us feel good. They make us feel like we're making the world a better place, like we are becoming better people. Thank you, Stephanie and Steph, for sharing this out. That was cool. You're gonna scope New York City, Malia? Awesome, I love that. Texas is the middle of the USA. Yeah. How's the Bitcoin doing? I don't know. I sold off all my Bitcoin for cash. Mark said he needs a vacation. Where do you want to go on vacation, Mark? Texas? So intrinsic values I explained. Extrinsic values are like materialistic things, like a bigger house, a nicer car, you know, the nicest makeup and hair. Oh, New Year's Eve. Okay. Is better an illusion? Oh, maybe. It's even why horrible people do what they do. So, Mark, say yes. Hi, Kieran. Hi. Hello. How are you? Did I get it? Let's find out. Yes. Yes. I know all about this. Okay, yeah, I do. I'm aware of all of that. I did a broadcast where I discussed this and addressed it for about 30 to 60 minutes. And Kayvon, the CEO and creator of Periscope, did watch that replay. And I didn't hear anything bad come back from that. So I think my neutrality to that situation has been deemed okay. So I'm gonna keep doing what we're doing, and we'll see what happens. But I'm not really too worried about drama scopers most of the time. But yeah, thank you for looking out for me and trying to have my back, you guys. I appreciate that. Okay, so we all have a mixture. We all want nice things. You know, we don't all want to be homeless. We don't want to just be outside, you know, in the environment, just leaving it all up to fate and giving away every penny that we get and just having nothing, most people. But you don't want that to be the most important thing to you. You don't want the outside world, the tangible things that you can touch and feel, to be the most important things in your world, because they found that no matter how many more things you get, how much more money you make, how much more attractive your mate is, how amazingly perfect your body or your, you know, plastic surgery, you know, can make you look, that you do not become any happier at all. Like, no improvement in happiness at all whatsoever. And with intrinsic values, when you just feel good, like when I get a message from someone that says, you know, hey, I'm going through a similar situation to what you went through. You made it look so easy. Thank you so much. I don't comment in your broadcasts a lot because I just like to watch, and I just wanted to let you know that you've really helped me through a hard time in my life. I get a message like that, and that is the most rewarding thing that can happen to me ever. Ever. Like, that is the best feeling in the world, and it has nothing to do with money or a car or a computer or anything, a nice phone. It's purely intrinsic. So Nicholas is saying the opposite of what I'm saying. So intrinsic values, this book talks about how they believe, hey Ryan, thanks for watching on YouTube, that they believe that we've disconnected from intrinsic values, and they talk a lot about advertising here. Thank you, Todd. Thank you. I appreciate that. Loneliness. That was actually in the part where they said that we lost connection with other people. That loneliness seems to lead to depression. It's freezing because it's literally freezing, Stephanie. Hey, Geodude. Hey, Sean. Sean says he's partly blind, but he uses it to his advantage. Okay, you have a good night too, Steph. Enjoy your shower. Celebrities have it the worst. Money won't make you happy, but it will help you avoid stuff that makes you unhappy. When you say, hey, bae, you're my everything, it's a lie. No. Chuck. Non-material connected happiness is priceless. Thank you, Chuck. Chuck, the only person who's paying attention right now. I'm just kidding, guys. I know you're paying attention. I'm just trying to troll back lightly. Yeah, but they talk about loneliness. So that was something in my experience with depression that I learned without any studies or science or anything, was that I was thinking back when I was depressed, what was the problem there? I felt alone, completely alone in the world. Like I had no one. Like I was completely disconnected from everyone in the world. And they did a study where they asked Americans, how many confidants do you have? A confidant is someone you can tell anything to. If you make a big mistake, you do something really bad, you could tell this person. And if you win the lottery and you have something awesome happen, you could tell this person and they're not going to be jealous or try to take it from you or rain on your parade or make you feel bad for your good stuff. A real confidant, people that you're that close with, like thicker than blood. Thank you, Finley, for the super hearts. I believe it was in the 60s, they said that the most common response was 3. The most common number of confidants that Americans answered was 3. Shara says 1. Okay, yeah, you guys can answer if you want. Tell me how many close confidants you have. And thank you, Georgie. And in 2018, I'm sorry, I don't know when they did the newer study. I think the first study, the first study was like 2005. Let's see if I can find, wait, no, I'm in the wrong chapter here. I don't want to lose you guys by scrolling through the pages. Oh my god, I said scrolling. But I'm thinking maybe it was like 2005, and the most common answer was 3. And then they did it again, I forget what the year was, but since then, and the most common answer among Americans as to how many confidants they have was none. 0. There were more people that have no one that they could confide in than that have even one. Okay, yeah, here we go. Okay, yeah, I said that wrong. So, okay, how many confidants do you have? When they started doing the study several decades ago, the average number of close friends an American had was 3. By 2004, the most common answer was none. There are now more Americans who have no close friends than any other option. That's intense. Several personalities. It is so sad, yeah. Georgie said 0. Really, Georgie? Ugh. Putting prisoners in solitary confinement is one of the worst punishments, absolutely. When we're alone, another thing that happens when we feel lonely is that I don't remember the name for it, but you wake up in the middle of the night. Hey Darren, thanks for watching on YouTube. You wake up in the middle of the night and that's the reminder to bring my garbage can back in. They think, their theory is that it's because you realize somewhere deeply innately in you, Steph, thank you for the super hearts, that you are the only one who, your husband, but when he pisses you off, it's 0. Shara, that you are the only one who has your own back, that you have to have your own back. And when we were in tribal human, early human civilization, that being removed from the pack and being alone with no one to watch your back and kind of keep watch while you got to sleep was one of the most stressful and scariest, most threatening things that could happen to your life, because now you're exposed to predators and you're just weaker when you have nobody else to have your back, and that you're very well aware of that, and it's innately built into our very structure, our very instincts. Is that Lady Patriot? How come he's sad? What, because of what I'm talking about here? Marsumoto, what is that? Owl team, hello, thanks for being here. Is that why I'm waking up swinging all the time? I don't know, that could be PTSD too. Hey Fro. My comments are being weird today. Out of all my mates, I'm very independent. I don't expect anyone to have my back. Okay. Teach their own. So the next cause, I think we kind of covered that one pretty good. The next cause number 4, chapter 9, is disconnection from childhood trauma. Thank you, Fro, for the super hearts. And this, to sum it up, basically, that psychotherapy is the best way, according to this book, to really work that through. You have to talk to a professional about what happened to you when you were a child and work it through. Now, in this, I think this is the chapter where they talk about psilocybin, which is the active, psychoactive ingredients in psychedelic mushrooms that cause a hallucinogenic effect and cause you to hallucinate. So these are our sponsors from the last 30 days. Thank you for asking, and thank you every single one of you. I know Josh is in here. I know a lot of other people are in here right now. Georgie Boy is here. Thank you guys for supporting this channel. Art therapy. Yeah, art therapy. There you go. Yes, so there's different forms of therapy. Actually, Steph is an art therapist and she knows a lot about this. There's like music therapy, there's talk therapy, she said art therapy, there's CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. They use that a lot with people with OCD. Hey, Kevin. How do you watch the Femme Yoga? You can watch me right here, right now. You can watch the replays. You can go to YouTube and watch all of our replays on there. Tell us about the mushrooms. Let me see if this is the right chapter for that, because I want to actually read it and not just make up what I thought about it. It's not in this chapter, so I'm just going to say what I think about it. I just said I wasn't going to do that. Oh well. Low dose, it's fun. High dose, it's like ayahuasca scary. Did you just toss my friend card for mushrooms? I think I found Waldo on that list. I'm good. Just kidding. When do you do yoga? Kind of randomly, but you can find my whole yoga playlist on YouTube. You know everything about them, Sean? Cool. Shrooms, yes. So mushrooms, and I don't know the history, but I believe that it was originally, they kind of stumbled upon this ingredient that they were using on people with psychological something. I forget what the diagnosis was particularly they started using it on, but it was for therapeutic benefits. It was like a medicine, like a treatment. And I will never incriminate myself, but let's just say hypothetically I did mushrooms when I was younger, and it completely changed the way that I think about everything and caused me to quit some things that I was addicted to. And actually, in terms of childhood trauma, which we're discussing here, I hypothetically, in a fake reality that does not actually exist, I didn't actually do this. I hypothetically did them for the first time ever with two of my close friends from elementary school. We were hypothetically teenagers at this point, but we had been friends for a very long time. There was three of us, and one of those friends in particular was the recipient of a lot of bullying and abuse from me and the other friend. And we never really even realized that, us as the aggressors, until we hypothetically used mushrooms, psilocybin, hallucinogenic mushrooms. As our minds, the only way I can think to describe it is that our minds were basically forced open. We were able to look at things more objectively and not feel like we are the good people and other people are the bad people, and that we do nothing wrong and we do everything right, but to be more open-minded to the possibilities and to kind of explore our past together. And we were there was very much emotion, which is another side effect of this hallucinogen. I'm full of hypotheticals. Hypothetical hallucinations. That's a mouthful. And we were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry we put you through that. And the thing is, it's not like ecstasy or other drugs that I hypothetically may or may not have taken, where you feel really good when you're on, like, let's say alcohol. Alcohol is a legal drug. We can all talk that we've had alcohol before. So when you're drunk on alcohol, certain things seem like they'd be a great idea or a fine idea, not a bad idea when you're drunk. As soon as you're not drunk anymore, you're like, that was a terrible idea. That was the alcohol. That was, my judgment was impaired. I wasn't thinking clearly. Whereas with, and like Josh said, with small, reasonable doses of psilocybin, it's not like that. It's almost like the opposite. Like you think extremely clearly, hypothetically. And you don't lose the effects after you come off of the drugs. After you're hallucinating, those beliefs and thoughts and things that you come to think in that time, at least in my hypothetical experience, lasts forever. That doesn't change. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, I was just on something and I thought that, but I was wrong. No, I had some realizations hypothetically that I still believe to this day. And that's kind of, they talk about that, the power of hallucinogens to actually take away addiction from people. Now, hallucinogens are not legal, I don't think, anywhere, pretty much any of them, almost in America, as I'm referring to. So they talk about that a little bit in this book, and I bet they talk about it a lot in his other book called Chasing the Scream by the same author, Johann Hari. Hey, Eric. He texted me earlier when I was live in the private group. Should have come and hung out. Goal, boom, boom, goal, boom, goal. Mark, you're having a lot of fun. Marsamoto, I like your bees. Oh, that's why Owl Team Kill. It's because you're sending emojis that Restream doesn't recognize, so it's just typing them out. I understand what's happening here, Marsamoto. Florida, it's legal if you pick them by accident. Pick them by accident? What? Where are they growing accidentally? LSD was first used for treating psych disorders. Exactly. So hallucinogens are actually, they get kind of a bad rap. Probably not unlike cannabis. For a very long time, cannabis was the devil. It was horrible. It was a terrible thing. And nowadays, it's like healing people with cancer pain and reversing, digestive disorders and helping people manage seizures and epilepsy. And I mean, in reducing glaucoma pressure. I mean, things that are very much good, positive things, right, as far as we can tell. And that is a complete like flip over of what we thought just a couple decades ago. And I think that hallucinogens might end up in that same category. Know what cannabis raises? Know what cannabis raises? What does that mean? Okay, chapter 10 is cause 5. Nowadays, you better invest in cannabis stock. I don't know, it's still federally illegal. So I don't invest in any cannabis stocks, but we can talk investments on our other broadcast because I love talking about that lady. I really do. Oh, like you accidentally planted them? Shara said she tried shrooms and hated it. I need to be in control. So let me talk about my hypothetical experience. My hypothetical mushroom experience, they recommended that I take what is called an eighth of mushrooms, which is 3.5 grams. I hypothetically decided, let's start with half of that. And I went with 1.7 grams, and I've never done more than that. I've never done it at all because this is all hypothetical, but I've never done more than that. And that was enough for me, I'm small, to achieve very powerful mind-enhancing, mind-opening effects and virtually zero visual effects. I didn't actually see anything that wasn't there so much. Maybe a little bit of like what's a good term for this? I'm sure there's a word for it. Kind of like Celtic cross type designs, but only if I like stared at one spot for a really long time. And I think your eyes probably just do that. Like if you close your eyes really tight for a while and open them up, sometimes you'll see like little floaters kind of things, but not like I'm looking at something and all of a sudden a face comes out and is talking to me, and like not powerful hallucinations at all. It's not like acid or LSD, which I've really never done, so I don't know really what that's like. Mark, you're having so much fun with emojis. And Marsamoto, you too. This is fun. I like it. It's funny to see the ones that have no names, like Jaturkey. I know, I didn't see a witch. I didn't see a woman. I didn't see horses playing basketball. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see it. Okay. Chapter 10, cause 5 of depression and anxiety is disconnection from status and respect. This is where the book started to turn on me a little bit, I thought. Avery, what would you say that the things you hallucinate on LSD actually are there? What about DMT? I'm calling the police. This hypothetical sounds very real. I think we're outside of the statute of limitations on that, but just in case, we're just going to keep it hypothetical forever. Why does everyone egg drop on their scope descriptions? Oh, because it brings in the bot, so people can use, the bot automatically kicks repeater bots, and you can use it to check like the time and the weather and a few other things and play games and stuff. So thank you, Lady Petra, appreciate that. I really do. I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, and I don't know how I felt about it either. So let's just get into it. We're not afraid. This is the year of no fear. So loss of status and respect. So they talked in the very beginning about bonobos, which are monkeys that are believed to be like a close cousin to humans. And they're lifestyle, and a woman went and like lived with amongst the wild bonobos for a long time and studied them and learned a lot. And or maybe it was a man. There was a woman who studied someone, there was a man. There was so many studies in this book. I'm sorry if I'm mixing up genders here. Someone studied this, and that person, that individual, they found that that there was a very clear hierarchy between the monkeys. There was the alpha. It's not bonobos, is it? Okay, no, baboons. Baboons. There was something else about bonobos, sorry. Baboons. Which is again believed to be a cousin of ours. Now, they have an alpha baboon, and they have the other male baboons, and they're basically like 2, 3, 4, 5, like in command. There's a clear hierarchy, and there's always the baboon that ends up on the bottom of that hierarchy. And what they found was that when there is competition for the alpha position, for the position of alpha, like the other monkeys start attacking the alpha and trying to become alpha, that amongst the baboons at the top of the hierarchy, the stress is the highest. That those, out of everyone in the whole community, the ones at the top experience the highest amounts of stress when a new alpha is attempting to take over. Only then. The rest of the time, the vast majority of the time, when there's no new alpha up and coming and trying to take over the squad, I'm sure that's not the term, the most stressed monkeys are the ones on the bottom, especially the one all the way at the bottom. He is almost constantly in a state of stress. And they figure that out by taking blood samples and looking at the hormones in their bodies. And they actually excrete, I believe, the same hormones that humans do when they're stressed. You can't type, I'm sorry. 200 micrograms LSD is equivalent of like 5 grams of psilocybin. Whoa, I'm the alpha of the squad. So they found that the people, then therefore they took this study and they put it onto humans, and they said that's probably true of humans too. That at the bottom, when you feel like you are at the bottom rung of society, like you're just the dirt, and everybody just kind of like picks on you and kicks you when you're down, and you're just like, you're constantly told that you're worthless and you're never going to go anywhere in your life and whatever, you're at the bottom, you're in like a state of poverty, homelessness, whatever, that you are almost constantly stressed, that you are the most stressed in society. And then the people at the top they have their own levels of stress too, because they're constantly trying to stay on top, and they're constantly getting all these threats. And if you think of the human population now compared to like a group of baboons, I mean, the threats are infinite. I mean, there's millions of people that could want your position at any time. Probably not millions, but you never know. Depending on your position, if you're up high enough, then there's probably at least millions. It's weird to walk into this. Why? Good morning, Eric. Good morning. I'm hungry. Octopus. Okay. Cat girl. Baboons would be troop. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you. It's a troop. It's a troop. She said I always help the underdog, especially if it's Ron Paul. I like it. I like it. Being in the middle class of stress is good. Not that it's good, it's just not the most stressful position to be in. Hey, Chopper. Now what they talk about here, and this is where we get into a little bit of politics, which I don't want to go too hard into it because we only have about 45 minutes before Chris Angeles goes live. I'm just trying to tell you what is in this book. So I'm just going to tell you what he said. Maybe I'll say what I think. I'm not really good at not saying what I think most of the time, and we will we'll see where we go from here. So he talks about the wealth gap. We have a lot of really ultra elite, super wealthy people. I'm sorry, not a lot. We have a few people at the top, and then there's a huge gap between like the next level down, and then everybody down there is almost like they're just way below. There's a huge gap between the elites and the rest of the people. Thank you, Kieran, so much for the super Kieran. Kieran said, are you trying to talk about politics? We're not doing politics, we're doing a cash cannon. Okay, we're about halfway to a cash cannon. No. Hypothetically tell us what you think. Yes. Yes, I love this. Is this author a narcissist? I don't know. I'm not his psychologist. I'm not anyone's psychologist. I don't know if people have personality disorders or not. So what they hypothesize here in this book is that because of that wealth gap, and when there's a big gap in between, when there's a lot of inequality, that there's a lot more stress in the society than when there is less inequality. Plagiarist? I doubt it. The middle class is disappearing. Right. So he was saying that places like, I believe, Sweden, no, was it Sweden? Was it Norway? I think it was Norway. It's hard to find it because in the way he wrote this is that he presents the causes and the problems. Thank you, Patriot, for the super hearts. And then at the end of the book, he presents the solution. So I don't have it in this chapter here, but I believe maybe, let's say it's Norway. And in Norway, that people, because it's more of it's more equal. I'm trying not to use the S word because there's less financial and socioeconomic range, that those people, they hypothesize, are less depressed because of that. Then they also talk about frozen rents and minimum wage and guaranteed, or like universal basic income, basically. Like making sure that everyone gets paid at least a certain amount, and that people, when they, according to this book, when people received a frozen rent or a guaranteed minimum wage, that their depression was decreased. However, in these stories, he also talked about how having a common cause connected these people to other people in fighting for a common cause. So when he talks about how it's sad that we lost connections with other people, I agree with that, and I think that potentially we can't really tell if it's because they got the basic wage or because they got frozen rents, or if it's because they were now connected with a group of people who understood them and agreed with them and supported them and felt similarly and had the same, they had something in common with these people, and they felt like they were no longer alone. So that, I'm trying to be as apolitical as possible, that's what I would theorize, that it had less to do with the frozen rents and guaranteed basic income. And I also believe that those things are not sustainable, they can't ever be permanently guaranteed, and they could potentially cause there you go, Josh, the S word, they could potentially cause people to be dependent upon systems like that. And if those systems were ever to go away due to like economic crisis or war or something, those people would actually be weakened by their dependency upon that, because there isn't the connection between the reality. It's like a disconnection from reality. Chapter 11, Cause 6, nothing to do with politics, disconnection from the natural world. Look at us, we got right through that. It was like 5 minutes. We didn't even have a big full argument debate. That was good. And we learned that a group of baboons is called a troop. Mark. You need to toggle. Thank you for the super hearts. Wait, toggle. What do you mean toggle? All right. Disconnection from the natural world. I really like this one because I agree, and I think that I've heard lots of science and read studies about. Yeah, Ryan said similar to Social Security. Yeah, absolutely. That would be right in that same category of what they're talking about here. Every person our government has helped seemed worse off for it. Murder of crows. Wait, murder of crows. I think I'm a little bit lost right now. It's a squad of baboons with their butts hanging out. Squad goals. We're the Taylor Troop, y'all. Holla. What? Okay, Saul, hey, what's up? There's a lot of studies that say if you get out into the greenery, so I have a green shirt on, so you don't have to go outside, you can just look at my shirt. I'm just kidding, that's not true. Although I do think the color green does make us feel a little bit better, but regardless, getting out into the greenery, out into the trees, or even if it's like the desert where you live, or the beach, or the snow, going out and snowboarding or something, going out into the natural real world and moving around through it. So not just going and sitting in a park and saying, oh, this is nice, but actually walking around and exploring and touching the trees and touching things and actually engaging and interacting with our natural world. Some reasons they say that that helps is because, one, we're too sedentary. We sit, we think, we're like, we want to think, we want to convey our thoughts, we want to talk, we want to think, and we tend to be sedentary when we do those things. What we have been doing as humans, even longer than talking, or I don't know about thinking, but like talking and trying to convey our ideas to each other through language, is moving through our natural environment and typically being nomadic. So we were nomadic then, you know, hunters and gatherers, and, you know, it naturally seemed to progress to be a little bit more sedentary, but they said that we kind of swung a little too far in one direction. Bark, I like bark, me too. So you want to go outside. And that's why I had Lorraine on for all those Mondays let's get outside. Let's go out there. Let's get in the sun, get our vitamin D, get our bodies moving, maybe swim, maybe walk, maybe dance. You know, you don't have to go out there and run a marathon. That's not what we're talking about here. They actually didn't really talk about exercise in this book at all. They didn't talk about exercise or nutrition from what I can tell. I sit in a dumb chair all day writing. I need to go outside. Yeah, even doing it outside. Like earlier I was on the phone, and instead of just like I was on the phone, I was outside, and instead of just like standing there on the phone, well, I went outside because I didn't want to be inside, but then I also just like walked in circles around my house because I was like, all right, I'm outside, I'm moving around, I just read this book, I'm putting it to practice, you know? You want to dance in the trees? Can we dance with the trees? Dances with Trees, that'll be our Native American name. What did you just call me? Ryan? Fort Bush, I don't know what that means. Okay. Another reason this helps us, not just because we get the greenery, we get the fresh air, we get the vitamin D, we get moving, you know, when you get moving, your hormones tend to change in your body. But we also realize, thank you, Chuck, that's very kind. We also realize that there's something bigger than us. We're kind of struck by our own smallness when we're out in nature and we see a mountain or we see a forest. And, you know, it doesn't have to be the Grand Canyon or Niagara Falls or some beautiful red rock formation in Sedona, Arizona, but just being in nature. And you just kind of get that sense like there's so much more out here. There's so much more to life than my little problems that I was so focused on. Because when we're depressed, we feel like everything is about us. We're like completely self-consumed and we don't want to go out into the world. When we get out there, we kind of realize, you know what? Maybe things aren't so bad and maybe not everything is about me. Maybe there's kind of like a higher purpose or meaning to life. Nature heals. I totally agree with that. And I think that's probably something we can all agree on. So I'm glad they jumped to that right after the politics. Okay, so this is actually, chapter 12 was cause 7, the last cause, disconnection from a hopeful or secure future. So this was actually the chapter where he talked about frozen rents and guaranteed minimum wages, guaranteed income. Causes 8 and 9 is the real role of genes and brain changes. So actually they might talk about psilocybin and hallucinogens back here. You are Iron Man. I love Iron Man. Nature brings me back to the surface. I'd rather be in nature than in the city. Yeah, me too. I'd much rather be in nature than in a city. I don't really like cities. So in this chapter, they talked about how there is a 30 to 40%, let me say this better, that your genetics, your genes, they found a gene that makes you, if you have this gene, that it appears that you are 30 to 40% more sensitive to depression or anxiety. So this makes us all feel better. We're all like, okay, there is some genetic component of this. There is some physical, biologic component here. It's not just, you know, bad things happen to you and you're inside too much, but also that you actually could be genetically predisposed to being more sensitive to it. I want to find the numbers here because what they said was that you're more sensitive to it, but only if you're exposed to depressing or anxious experiences, basically. So the gene is called 5-HTT. It's a variant of that gene, and it does relate to becoming depressed. Okay, so it says there's a catch. We are all born with a genetic inheritance, but your genes are activated by the environment. They can be switched on or off by what happens to you. If you have a particular flavor of 5-HTT, you have a greatly increased risk of depression, but only in a certain environment. If you carried this gene, you were more likely to become depressed, but only if you had experienced a terribly stressful event or a great deal of childhood trauma. Well, to be honest, I don't know that I experienced a terribly stressful event, or I definitely didn't have a great deal of childhood trauma, unless you would say like I didn't know my dad. So I had like a weird relationship with men. I mean, I was definitely lacking any kind of like male role model in my life. I don't know if that's considered a great deal of childhood trauma. I would assume no. Didn't feel very traumatic. I don't feel traumatized by that. But do we know when we're traumatized? I don't really know. I thought we were going to talk about politics. What was the other thing? Sorry. A terribly stressful event. I mean, I was dating, I was like dumped, and I don't know if that's it felt very stressful at the time, but I was 13, so I don't know. Let's see. This means that if other genes work like 5-HTT, and it looks as if they do, you feel nicer to meet you. Then nobody is condemned to be depressed or anxious by their genes. Your genes can certainly make you more vulnerable, but they do not write your destiny. Your genes cannot create those factors alone. So your environment is important. I dated at 13, yeah. I haven't been dumped since I was 13. No, I've been dumped. I think I was dumped when I was 16. I assume I might have been dumped after that too. That's the last time I remember. That was the only time I really cared though, because I actually liked that guy. Garbage gets dumped every... Oh, I have to bring my garbage can in. Good reminder. Thank you. Okay, 31 minutes until Chris Angeles is live on this channel with an hour of music. I'm so excited. We got to get through this because we're not really doing it very fast. Wait, but I wanted to see I guess that's pretty much it. I didn't see the 30 to 40% numbers, but oh well. Oh, and that things that can change your brain, your brain is neuroplastic, so things actually change the way that your brain works, and that meditation has a very, very profound, strong impact on your brain, except he talks in here about that, and also hallucinogens. I have to do something with the trash, thank you. Don't leave us, Yager the 8th. Sorry you got dumped, they were dummies. Thanks, Avery. This is Miles. This is my new screening, Little Bunny Foo Foo. Yes! I sang that on this channel at least twice. Hi, Shay. Your genes have a hammer loop. Denial ain't just a river in Egypt. I couldn't go to the movies until I was 16. Well, you probably... Neuroplasticity's hot. Are you aroused right now? Maybe if I had had a little bit more guidance in the dating realm and then just kind of try to figure it out on my own at 13 years old, that would have been helpful. So maybe your parents were, maybe that was good for you. I don't know. How often do I meditate? I like to meditate every day, but I'm not great at doing it every single day. I usually am triggered to meditate by something stressful happening. When I feel that I'm like, then I meditate. Hi, Shay. And then I'll usually, if I know that something stressful is going on in my life, even if I don't really feel a lot of stress, I'll do daily meditation and try to stay consistent with it. So I use it as kind of like almost like a medicine, which is not the recommended way. You're supposed to meditate every day. I don't do anything every day besides like brush my teeth and sleep. I don't do yoga every day either, no. I eat every day and drink water. All right. So, what is meditation? Thinking, relaxing. It's focusing on one thought for at least 10 to 20 minutes, I would say. Shay the dog is here. Oh, Shay is here. Hi, Shay. No, it's not a dog. It's our friend Shayda. I do scope every day. Oh, yeah, I scope every day. Duh. Thank you, Todd. You feel more okay about yourself now? Well, that's good. Me too. Oh, because I don't do it every day? Well, good. Good. So they're talking about reconnecting to other people. I mean, I kind of already addressed the solutions with each of the problems. Social lives, meaningful work, meaningful values, overcoming addiction to the self. So he talks about altruism in here, which I'm not a huge fan of altruism myself. I like Ayn Rand. I like the virtue of selfishness. So we're just going to pretend like I'm not going to read the comments. We're just going to go acknowledging and overcoming your childhood trauma. There's a test, I believe, or an evaluation called the ACE. ACE. I forget what it stands for. It's something like abusive childhood experiences or something like that. It's like maybe I don't think it's like that. It's like childhood evaluation or something. And there's 10 different potentially traumatic things that could have happened to you in your childhood, and they found that if you have 7 or more of those, that you are over 3,000% more likely to commit suicide. And that if you have any one of those, that it dramatically increases your risks of having depression. So there's a straight up evaluation. You can see, what you've had happen, and you can go to therapy for it. It's not like that's outside of your control. We can't change what happened to us. Thanks, Chuck. But we can choose how to process it and handle it going forward into our futures. It doesn't matter how long ago it was, and it doesn't matter if you've ever told anyone about it. You can right now, you can even find therapists online. You don't even have to leave your house, I must have had something so bad happen that I blocked it out and can't remember. That's possible. There's some therapists that probably specialize in repressed memories, I would assume. Adverse childhood experience. Thank you, Kieran. Adverse childhood experiences. So if you've had a certain number of those, you're much more at risk of depression. But that's okay. It's even if you're in that category, there's still hope. Knowledge is power. You know now that it's not just, oh, there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with your brain, but a lot of bad things happen to you, and it's not your fault, especially when you were a child. That was something they covered here, was that for children, there's basically 2 ways for them to process abuse that happens to them. One, they can accept that they are powerless and helpless and there's nothing they can do and just be victims. Or 2, and what was ACEs, yes. That's in this book. Number 2 is that the child could take responsibility for the abuse, and they think that it's their fault and it's something that they did wrong, or that they did to deserve the abuse, or that they could have done something differently to prevent it from happening. And that really can stick with you all through adulthood if you don't actually receive therapy for this by a professional. I mean, that's what they're trained to do. And therapists, they want to help people. They want to help people like you. And I bet a lot of therapists have similar stories because they probably get into it because of their own experiences and how it helps them too. 2 streams for this channel at once. It's like magic. Did Chris go live already? Is Chris live right now? Oh. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna finish because she wasn't supposed to go live till 11, so I still have 25 minutes on my brain clock. I do want to finish this. I don't want to leave it unfinished, so we'll figure out what happened there. But you feel free to go check out Chris. She's playing music on this channel for the next hour, and you could totally, support her too through here. I don't have any degrees. I'm self-taught. I read a new book every week. Always make sure your therapist is supervised. What does that mean, supervised? That's interesting, Steph. Steph is actually a therapist, an art therapist, so you can reach out to her too. She's a Periscope broadcaster, and she helps with art therapy too. Brain clock. Yeah, I know. I'm like, wait, my brain clock is still ticking. Restoring the future. That's when they talked about the frozen rents and fixed incomes. Okay, that's actually pretty much it. I think that pretty much sums up what this book was about. Not too bad, right? Lost Connections by Johann Hari. Yes, so while Chris serenades you with her amazing, amazing music, her amazing voice and guitar playing and just awesomeness, I am going to clean my gun and then I'll be back live to have a drink or 2 or 3 with y'all. publish high school diploma. I like that. Michelangelo, hey. A therapist should have someone they go to discuss cases or issues. Supervision, right? So they basically receive therapy as well, right? Guns rock, yay. Awesome. Thank you guys for watching. Let's go hang out with Chris. I'm gonna get my work done and I'll be back to join you guys with a beverage. If not, then that means I didn't clean my gun and I'm bad and you should yell at me. I am many women. I am like 6 women right now. She came on a little bit early. I don't know why, but I'm about to end this, so don't worry. It'll just be her, and we're all gonna be okay, momentarily. I see your emojis, Mark. I'm looking at them right now. They still say ja-turkey, ja-turkey, ja-turkey. I'm not gonna drink while I clean my gun. That's why we're cleaning the gun first, getting our work done, getting our business taken care of first. I got some more things done for the move today. I got a lot done. I had a nice call with Shara. I dealt with Periscope saying, okay, Periscope email that freaked me out a little bit, but I'm gonna wait till I have more details and I'll tell you guys as I learn. Thank you, Shay. I'll see you later. Hello, Howard. And thank you for all the super hearts, you guys. Top contributor of this broadcast was Kieran with over 7,000 super hearts. We didn't quite hit 20,000 to shoot off the cash cannons, but that's okay. I do appreciate you guys for what you can do to support. Finley, over 2,000 super hearts. SPC, thank you. Awesome chatting with you tonight. Mark, thank you for the super hearts. Steph, over 1,000, thank you for the super hearts. Shara, thank you. Fro and Pete, you guys are awesome. Lovely happiness, like puppies making cookies. Yeah, I feel pretty happy. I have my own reservations about that email that I received, but I know we're gonna be okay. So, you sent me chocolate bars and beer. Wait, chocolate R's and ear with no B's? I'm BB? Are you gonna say, what? I'm confused. Okay, you guys are awesome. Oh, you mean for emojis. That's funny. Hugs and liberty. Oh, I like that. This has been a moment in time with Taylor. Please be sure to check out the website there, femyoga.com, and you can click support to keep this channel going and growing. See you later. Let's go hang out with Chris. She's live right now. Oh, here, I'll put up a little button in case you're not following already. Boom. There, you can follow, and we'll see you in there. Take care.